He was 6'7" of pure fear. For 12 years, the best batsmen in the world felt their hands shake just watching him walk back to his mark. Today, that same man plays bass guitar in a reggae band and once competed on a dancing show for his wife and daughters. This is Sir Curtly Ambrose, and his story is proof that the most intimidating people in the world can also be the gentlest once the cameras stop rolling. Stay until the end, because the reason he barely ever spoke to the press will completely change how you see him. If you love stories about quiet legends hiding surprising lives, hit subscribe now. Curtly Ambrose was born on September 21, 1963, in a small village called Sweets in Antigua. He was the fourth of 7 children. His father worked as a carpenter. His mother, Millie, stayed home and raised the family almost single-handedly, since his father spent much of his life away, working in St. Croix and the Virgin Islands before eventually settling in New Jersey. Nobody in that house had any real background in cricket. But his mother loved the game with her whole heart, and that love slowly made its way into her son, even though young Curtly wasn't even thinking about cricket as a career. Basketball was his first love. He was tall, athletic, and dreamed about the sport the way most kids in his village dreamed about cricket. He mostly played cricket for fun with friends, and back then, he was actually a batsman, not a bowler. In school, he did well, especially in math and French. At 17, he left school and became an apprentice carpenter, following his father's trade. At one point, he even considered leaving Antigua altogether and moving to America to build a different life entirely. Then, almost by accident, cricket pulled him back in. In 1985, Ambrose made his first-class debut for the Leeward Islands. A scholarship trip to England to play club cricket completely transformed his bowling. He came home a different player, and in one incredible season back with the Leeward Islands, he took 35 wickets. People started to notice. In 1988, at 24 years old, a former carpenter's apprentice from a small Antiguan village made his international debut for the West Indies. What followed over the next 12 years was one of the most feared bowling careers cricket has ever seen. Ambrose played 98 test matches, taking 405 wickets at an average of just 20.99, a number that puts him among the greatest fast bowlers to ever play the sport. He picked up 24 5-wicket hauls in Test cricket alone, meaning nearly a quarter of every test he played, he single-handedly tore through an entire batting lineup by himself. For long stretches of his career, he was ranked the single best bowler on planet Earth. Picture this for a moment. 6'7" tall, a run-up that seemed to take forever. A ball that came down from a height most batsmen had never faced before, at speeds close to 90 miles an hour, landing exactly where he wanted it to land, over and over again. Batsmen from every corner of the cricket world have talked about the specific kind of fear that came with facing Curtly Ambrose. Not just fear of getting out, fear of getting hurt. Fear of simply not being good enough to survive the next 6 balls. As the great West Indies team of the 80s and early 90s began to fade, Ambrose and his fellow fast bowler Courtney Walsh became the last 2 pillars holding up the entire bowling attack. 2 men carrying a nation's cricketing pride almost entirely on their own shoulders, series after series, year after year, long after the rest of that legendary team had faded into history. In 1992, Wisden, the most respected name in cricket writing, named him one of their Cricketers of the Year. When he retired in 2000, cricket's biggest institutions made sure his legacy would never be forgotten, inducting him into the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame and naming him to the West Indies' all-time greatest starting 11. And through every bit of that dominance, Ambrose barely said a word to anyone. He became famous, almost as famous as his bowling, for refusing to give interviews, for staying completely silent with journalists, for letting his performance on the field do every single bit of the talking. In a sport full of big personalities and bigger quotes, Ambrose became a legend built entirely on presence rather than noise. Maybe that silence was part of what made him so terrifying in the first place. You couldn't read him. You couldn't predict him. You could only face him. Now here's where his story turns into something nobody could have predicted from watching him bowl. In 2001, the year after he retired, Ambrose married Bridget Benjamin. The couple has raised several daughters together, including one adopted daughter. And just like his approach to journalists during his playing days, Ambrose has kept almost every detail of his marriage and family life completely private. No interviews about his wife, no public details about his daughters growing up. Just a quiet, protected family life, built the same way he built his bowling career, entirely on his own terms. After retiring, Ambrose didn't disappear into obscurity. He simply redirected all of that intensity into something nobody expected: music, specifically reggae. Ambrose picked up a bass guitar and started playing in a reggae band alongside his former West Indies teammate, Richie Richardson. He has spoken about his deep love for artists like Burning Spear and Dennis Brown, and he even spent time working as a DJ. Try to picture that shift for a second. A man who spent 12 years making the best batsmen in the world tremble now spends his time laying down bass lines in a reggae group with an old teammate. It's almost impossible to reconcile with the image most fans still carry of him, running in at full pace with the ball in his hand. He also moved into cricket commentary, bringing his deep technical knowledge of fast bowling to broadcasts around the world. His analysis carries the same quiet authority that defined his playing days, measured, sharp, and never needing to shout to make a point. Then, in 2019 came the moment that genuinely surprised the entire cricket world. Curtly Ambrose joined the cast of Dancing with the Stars Australia, partnered with professional dancer Siobhan Power. By his own admission, he almost said no. It wasn't until his wife and daughters pushed him to take the leap that he finally agreed. Think about that. The most intimidating fast bowler of his generation, learning the waltz, the tango, the foxtrot, the jive, and the cha-cha because his family believed he could do it. The same man who once made grown professional athletes nervous just by staring them down was now nervously learning dance steps on live television because the people he loved most asked him to try. He also picked up golf along the way, describing it as the perfect contrast to the adrenaline of fast bowling, a game built on quiet precision instead of raw intimidation. Now let's talk about the money, because even legends need an honest answer here. Estimates of Ambrose's net worth vary quite a lot depending on the source, ranging anywhere from around $1 million up to $5 million. That range exists mainly because Ambrose played his entire career in an era before massive broadcasting deals and franchise leagues like the IPL completely transformed how much modern cricketers can earn. His wealth was built primarily through years of playing for the West Indies, and it has continued to grow gradually through his commentary work and select media appearances since retiring. It's simply a different financial world than the one today's top cricketers get to play in. And by every account, Ambrose has never seemed to care much about that gap. Friends and reports describe him as modest and low-key, someone who never chased flashy cars or extravagant homes, choosing instead a quiet life back home in Antigua. So what does Curtly Ambrose's life look like today? Not loud interviews, not chasing headlines. Instead, bass guitar, reggae music, the occasional round of golf, a cricket commentary booth, and a family life kept completely private and protected, the same way he protected himself from reporters for his entire playing career. Maybe that's the real story hiding behind one of cricket's most feared fast bowlers. A man who spent 12 years terrifying the best batsmen alive without saying a single unnecessary word, then walked away from the game and built a second life defined by music, family, and quiet joy on his own terms, exactly the way he always wanted it. So here's the real question. Do you think staying silent and private made Curtly Ambrose even more legendary? Or do you wish he had opened up more and let the world know the man behind the fear? Type your answer in the comments, hit subscribe for more stories about legends with surprising second lives, and share this with a cricket fan who only remembers the fast bowler and never knew about the bass guitar.